All right, here we are at lesson 39. My holiness is my salvation. We have a couple more lessons of holiness, maybe one more after this. Let me peek ahead. No peeking for you. Oh no, this is our last holy lesson. So this is the finale of holiness for now. All right, so it starts with, my holiness is my salvation, and the first line is, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And it says this idea many times because it's very important. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? This is not difficult, surely. The hesitation you may feel in answering is not due to the ambiguity of the question. But do you believe that guilt is hell? If you did, you would see at once how direct and simple the text is, and you would not need a workbook at all. No one needs to practice to gain what is already his. So, guilt is hell because it is so incredibly uncomfortable that we have to project it out. And then that's where all of the anger and distrust and disease and all the difficult things that we see in the world, they all stem from guilt. But don't take my word for it. You just have to keep practicing the lessons. And I know when I went through this that I didn't really get it. I just did the lessons anyway. And then eventually, when you start experiencing the opposite of the hell of guilt, then you will know. And you will know. You already know. But to have that experience, it takes a lot of practice. So we all have to practice a lot. I don't know anybody who has been free from the confines of the ego that didn't put a lot of focus on mind training in there's many different ways to do it. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable or unpleasant. You don't have to sit in meditation for hours a day. I never did that. You just have to practice in your everyday life. That's it. You just practice in your everyday life. And that's what this is. All these lessons are teaching us to do, is to be able to practice to change our mind so that we can actually experience the opposite of hell. So it says specific situations, events, or personalities you associate with unloving thoughts of any kind are suitable subjects for today's exercises. It is imperative for your salvation that you see them differently, and it is your blessing on them that will save you and give you vision. Slowly, without conscious selection and without undue emphasis on any one in particular, search your mind for every thought that stands between you and your salvation. Apply the idea for today to each of them in this way. My unloving thoughts about whatever are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. So it says, as you go through these exercises, that sustained concentration is very difficult at first. It will become much easier as your mind becomes more disciplined and less distractible. So again, it's gentle. It understands. Jesus, the Holy Spirit, understands that this training is difficult. And so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just keep doing it because it does get easier. So you can introduce the idea in any way that appeals to you. The idea should be stated so that its meaning is the fact that your holiness is your salvation. End each practice period by repeating the idea in its original form once more, so which is my unloving thoughts about blank are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. So if you were going to change this, you might say my angry thoughts or my fearful thoughts or whatever it is, whatever thoughts are causing you upset. But you do want to end with my holiness is my salvation. And remember, your holiness isn't from your ego. So don't worry about what your ego is doing, because when you are in touch with your holiness, then your ego is no longer needed. But again, lots of practice to get to that point where we don't need that ego identity. So just keep practicing and trusting, because we're only on lesson 39 and there's 365 of these lessons. So you're right exactly where you are meant to be in this process, and you are guaranteed to have salvation and to be free from the hell of guilt.